Alright, so let's talk about COREPUNK. So first, what is it? It's a top-down MMORPG with MOBA-type combat that mixes all the different punk styles into their world theme. Already this got me quite interested simply because I had already thought of something similar when playing MOBAs, right? And whenever you're playing a MOBA, you're leveling up this character, and at some point the game just ends and you have to start again. And I always had this feeling of why not keep playing with this character, you know? Would be nice if you could just keep upgrading it, keep improving it, keep getting better with the same character without having to, start a new game from scratch again. And then the theme, well, this mix of all these punk styles, meaning that it will have steampunk around there, it will have diesel punk, cyberpunk, and so on, which I'm a big sucker for those things. I really like steampunk, and I really like most punk type as well. So this got me quite excited. Compared to the previous videos I've been making, we actually know a lot about this game already. If you go to the website, you can find a lot of information. They've made already a bunch of videos explaining different things about the game, and you can find a lot of details in the forums as well. So first, I'll start by talking about the combat and the characters. So the combat will be highly inspired by MOBAs. You'll have few abilities, and you'll have items that also have active abilities. One of the main differences, apart from the point of view with other MMOs, is that instead of starting with a class and then you make a character, you start with a hero. And you can still customize it, but the main features of that character will still stay the same. And then in that hero, you have three different subclasses, and each subclass has basically a subset of four abilities. Those are four abilities that you'll keep your entire game from what it seems like. Then for the progression, you still have two extra abilities, two extra skills that you can choose from, and then the items or artifacts, like they call them, will also have active. Most of them will also have active abilities as well as passive stats. Developers are focusing a lot in tactical combat, a lot like MOBAs again. It's more about positioning, good CC, and good focusing, and good team play more than that will be more than just levels, stats, and so on. So additionally to the subclasses and the different items that you can have, you will also have weapon masteries, which are basically the specs, and they already confirmed that you'll be able to have three different specs. So then, like I said, you'll have your heroes that you can choose your subclass, and then you'll have the weapon masteries, and you'll have your perk points, which seem to also allow you to improve your abilities. So one of my concerns I had early on was that since it's like you would only have four abilities, then plus two plus your items, it seemed like potentially you would get tired of your abilities, since you, instead of being played only in a match type game, you would be played throughout like many hours. It seemed to me that you would end up growing tired of the abilities you have. But these weapon mastery seems to also have the ability of these perk points also seem to have the ability to actually slightly modify these abilities, which will make this ability fit your playstyle a lot more. And then additionally, the fact that you can switch between three different specs will also allow for variety and for more freedom in which the way you play. And additionally to that, I didn't know at first, a lot of the choices of the abilities that you'll have will mostly come from the items and not from the skills that your hero has. So then, the game obviously is a MMORPG, meaning that it will also have crafting, and they confirmed that some of the best items and weapons will come from crafting. And additionally, it is confirmed that we'll have four different crafting skills plus four gathering professions. Without counting fishing, which is also something that I always love in games. It's always an extra small addition, which allow you to just chill for a bit. And well, it will also have cooking, which I guess goes with it. And the additional of social skills, which the ones that they mentioned for now was Hitman and Sheriff, which tie to the open world PvP. How is the open world PvP going to work? So the game overall is designed to, with the different systems the game has, it's somewhat designed to push open world PvP, but it also has some measures to avoid people from griefing and from killing low level players. So the system that I'm talking about is, first, if you actually kill people around your level, you'll gain honor points, and then you'll be able to buy items with those honor points that have also been said to be also one of the best around. So you really, I guess, want to get those honor points. Then the open world will also have world bosses that will work a little bit like the bosses in the different MOBAs, meaning that only the group that actually kills it get the reward. Meaning that when those monsters spawn, different groups of people will go towards it and will fight to get the actual bonus, right, and the rewards from it. So that again will push towards open world PvP, which I really like and I'm really excited about. The other thing is it has a karma system, a bad karma system that will try to make people avoid conflict with low level players and so on. And the way that works is that if you do attack low level players, it will accumulate karma. And once you get to a certain level of karma, then you will become a criminal. And this system is what I think will be tied to the two social professions I talked about, hitman and sheriff. Well, where I assume hitmans will potentially be rewarded for killing players that might have been targeted by other players or something. And at the same time, sheriff will try to find criminals, right? So players that have already been killing players and have accumulated enough bad karma to become criminals. And this again is, I feel, is going to make the open world alive and have all these players' interactions with them between the players, which is going to be quite interesting. Like, this game won't have multiple factions like it would, like other games have, like World of Warcraft. So there won't be an active conflict between two big factions. Instead, it's just the players themselves who would be drawn to fight each other. And then these social skills with social professions will push this conflict as well. So the game will have guilds that will have all the different features that you can usually find in different MMOs, and will also have tasks that the players can do that will unlock different rewards and awards the guild with XP that allow that guild to level up and gain rank points. And then this rank will not only be a way to actually measure the different guilds, but would actually allow different guilds to partake into territory capture events where only the top guilds will be able to play. These will create this kind of conflict and this race to be the best guild that is always interesting in big MMOs, and that usually makes the community a lot more alive. So then, in terms of, I talked a bunch about PvP, which you will also find different game modes like battlegrounds and arenas. So then, what about PvE? So in PvE, obviously you'll have the open world in general, where you'll have mobs and specifically camps of mobs. Again, quite similarly to other MOBAs. For people that come from other MMORPGs, that might seem a bit weird to restrict. Instead of having mobs spawn a bit everywhere, you would have them spawn in very specific locations and very few of them. These obviously is a restriction, and it might make the world feel a bit less alive. But it has a big advantage, which is that it allows those camps to be a lot better designed, meaning that the choice of the different mobs, the different abilities those mobs have, will make the combat itself more challenging and more interesting as well. Then of course the game will also have dungeons and raids. The dungeons, from what I believe, are going to be 4-player dungeons, and the raids are going to be from 12 to 20 players. And again, this PvE combat will be a lot more tactical, and you'll have to be paying attention to locations and the different areas that you might have to move around and so on. These dungeons and the open world will also feature some puzzles. So the game, compared to what the appearance might tell, will have jump, and this allows the developers to actually create some jumping puzzles and agility type puzzles, which is going to vary the gameplay and make it more interesting. Additionally, the game will have a main story and main quests, which apparently will branch out and have different endings, which is quite interesting. And another thing that caught my attention is that instead of having the quest be, just a bunch of text and then you just accept, it will actually feature dialogue with the different characters and voiced dialogue, where you have choices about what you answer and so on. So, which is going to make the world feel more alive and more interesting, and the quest feel more interesting if you know what you're doing instead of just collect 4 things. So finally, I also wanted to mention that if you are interested in the game, check out the website. There's also forum posts where a user actually collected all the confirmed information about the game in a big list, which make sure to check out because there is a lot of interesting things in there that I didn't mention today. So yeah, I'm quite interested about this game. It's been a while since any MMO has been released. And this one, I believe, is different enough that it will actually be able to pierce the difficult MMO market out there. So I have high hopes for it. So, when are we going to see the game? When are we going to be able to play it? Well, there is a closed beta test planned this August of about 10,000 players, and we'll have no NDA, meaning that we will have a lot of information then about the game and see a lot of videos about it. And then the release date is still planned for the end of the year, meaning a late December. But even if it does get pushed, I wouldn't expect it to get pushed further than the first quarter of the next year. So yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully I can play it in this closed beta test or, in the open beta afterwards. So anyways, thanks for listening and thanks for watching and see you next time.